Well, we have a very tough challenge ahead Sunday afternoon versus a really good Florida team. If you think about the series over the last 7 years, it's been a really, really difficult game for us. And Florida always has really good players. They do again this year. They're always extremely well coached. They are extremely well coached again this year. And their guards are really, really strong. And, I think we need to play really good defense. Jatera Bonds has been just a nightmare for us to guard over the last 3 years, and she's having a great season, one of the top scorers in the league, and just surrounded by some really good players. So we are in for a tough game Sunday afternoon, and we're going to have to pour everything we have into getting ready for this one, have really good practices today and Saturday and Sunday morning, and do everything we can to see if we can earn a victory against a really good Florida team.
I mean, this isn't the first year you've started off with tough games, and not the first time you've started off with Florida early in the conference schedule. But, I mean, how much do you feel like that kind of game is going to help you without Denisha, with some of the changes that you've had to make?
Well, Denisha's absence has been something that we've had to work very hard to get through with some success, and I'm proud of the team where we stand since she went out. I know she's been itching to get back, and hopefully she's going to be back very soon. And we'll see where she is today. And so our goal is to try to work her back in the first chance that she feels like she can play. And so if that's Sunday, that'd be great. But I would think her first game back is going to be a process of trying to get in there, and we'll kind of see what we have. So even if she were back Sunday, I still think the team's mindset has to prepare for her role to possibly not be that big, which means we have to do what we've been working on, and we have to be successful without her. And Florida really poses some real challenges for us because we're relying on some young players. Lene and Michaela need to play well in this game, because I think we need to do everything we can to make the pace of the game a factor. But it's hard against Florida because Bonds is such an incredibly dynamic ball handler and so explosive and fast. We've really had a hard time pressing her in the past, and she's surrounded by a really good set of guards and some mobile post players. So some good three-point shooters too. So that's always a real concern in the press if you're late on a rotation and you can let Lily's feet or Needles get open from the three-point line. January Miller's a really good three-point shooter. So I think with Florida, they play so hard and they're so difficult to press. We need Michaela and Lene to really be sharp in this game. And for freshmen, the SEC time is a little difficult transition, and so it all goes back for us to practice, and they need to practice really, really well, and the entire team does, to get ready for this game.
Can you just talk about the series with Florida? The past couple of years, we've won 6 in a row against them, but they've all been single-digit victories. At the end of the year, there's always been some difference between Kentucky and Florida in the standings. We're usually near the top, and they're near the bottom in the middle. But, it's always been close. And can you just talk about why you think that is and why it's always been such a close game?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like we've won 6 in a row against them. They're just always so tough. I didn't know that was the case. We, I think, have really good games because they always have tough players, and their coach gets them ready to play. And our style of defense has some difficulties against them because they always have good guards. And I'll tell you, Bonds has just been, like I said earlier, she's just been a nightmare to try to handle. for us from a defensive perspective. She's so explosive and can get out and make plays. And sometimes when you have one player, one really super ball handler that is explosive, sometimes if you're not sharp in a press, one player can really hurt a press. So we have to, in this game, to try to make it about Kentucky as a team and really try to play together and see if we can limit Florida in transition where they're so good. Try to keep them off the offensive glass, which is always a challenge in SEC play. And they have some really good offensive rebounders. Ronnie Williams, their freshman, is really flying to the boards and hard to keep off the glass. So I think it's a tough game because of the style of defense that we play and the kind of players they have, and it just always makes for a real tough game. And I think it'll be that way on Sunday afternoon.
Watching the game yesterday and reading what you had to say about it, it sounded like you were pretty pleased by Samari and her play. Can you kind of reflect on what you felt she did so well yesterday?
Well, when I went back and watched the tape, we weren't great in every aspect as far as we weren't exactly where we were supposed to be all the time. There's some areas for growth from yesterday's game, but I tell you what I loved, and I think if we'll keep this, we can get all that other stuff worked out. I thought it was one of the great examples of Samari Walker playing however many minutes she got. I think it was 28, 29. Throughout that, she stayed in the game mentally, and she didn't let anything get her down. And she held her head high and played with great attitude and did not get off to a good start shooting the basketball. And there's been times when she would miss a layup or something like that would really affect her for several minutes. And sometimes earlier in her career it would affect her for the rest of the game. As she's matured and gotten better, she might miss something and it might affect her for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, but it would still have an effect on her. And I was so pleased yesterday. She just kept playing, and that is a great example for her. If she'll do that and just not let anything on the external, any external thing really affect her, and she stays with it, she is a double waiting to happen because she's just so strong, athletic, explosive, talented, skilled. I've told Samari this so many times. The only player I've ever really felt like could stop Samari is Samari. And so I was really happy with her mindset yesterday. And I think if she can keep that and continue that, it's going to pay off big dividends for the Kentucky team.
You mentioned in Denisha's absence how you're having to rely on young players in certain spots. How valuable has Samari been during that period? I mean, her veteran presence.
Well, Samari's been really solid and has played well in Denisha's absence. I know Samari's looking forward to Denisha getting back because then I think she can even play better basketball because she might get a little little less attention than she's getting now. But I always thought that when you have a challenge like Denisha leaving for a few games, there's such opportunity there. And I think Asia Bishop is on the cusp of really playing some good basketball. It's just such a process that we just have to stay so firmly planted in of reminding Asia that it's all about practice every day, and she just can't let up. One single day, can't waste a day. If you start to think about the totality of the schedule, 16 games, 3 or 4 games in the tournament, SEC tournament possibly, then the NCAA tournament, it seems like, the end of the season's a long way off, and so maybe, a practice on January the 3rd is not that big of a deal. And that's where we're trying to stay so firmly planted in the process of one day at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time. And that is the key for someone like Asia Bishop or anybody on our team to really become the player they want to be, because you just can't waste a second of practice time if we really want to be a great team. Today we need to get in there and really sharpen some things up from the Alabama game to see if we can take a step forward on Sunday. But we have to find a way to stay, planted in that process. And I think if we'll do that, we'll come out on this other side of losing Denisha as a stronger team. And I think Samari will be better, Asia will be better, all of our team. But in Denisha's absence, Samari's been really big for us.
What specifically is Asia showing you in this stretch as a starter?
Well, we were also disappointed in the Duke game and our performances there. And Asia 2 for 8 from the field, 0 for 5 at the free throw line, and none of the free throws were close. It was just not a good shooting performance. And she came back the night after Christmas, and she and I just spent some time at a goal, just trying to block all that stuff out, and let's get back to the fundamentals of what needs to happen for a layup, what needs to happen for a free throw, and it's all things that she knew. But since she's come back, I think she's practiced better. I think her attitude's been better, and that's really so much of the process of Asia becoming who she wants to become. She's grown so much since she's been here at Kentucky in so many ways, and really, off the court, I'm really pleased at where her decision making is now compared to when she first got here. Academically, she had a 3.5 in the fall semester, and that's just so much better than when she got here. And now I really am encouraging her to take that step as a player, because you all that have covered the team, you've seen her have these flashes of brilliance and how athletic she can be and how talented she is. And we just want her to realize that potential, and she can do it. So yesterday, 3 for 3 from the line, 6 for 10 from the field. Made some things happen on defense, and we just want her to become the player that's in there. And that's really our goal for all of our players, is to try to develop them to their very best. As a person, academically, athletically, that's what playing at Kentucky is all about. And I'm encouraged with Asia, but we just never can let up one day with her. There can be no sense of arrival for Asia Bishop. She's got to stay, firmly planted in the process of getting better on a daily basis.
Yeah. Was it a matter of kind of changing her mindset from coming off the bench and to knowing that she has to produce right away, and maybe shaking off a missed layup or a missed shot or something like that, and just kind of staying with it that way?
We really just don't talk about starting or we don't put any more value on the start of the game, or if you come off in that second unit, in that second 4 minutes, usually sort of what happens, because we try to get the game off to a really fast start with the tempo. So usually we're substituting that second 4 minutes. So in my mind, we need everybody, and so a starter's role is not significantly more important than a bench player's role at Kentucky. Now that's a bit unique to other places, but we just don't talk a whole lot about whether you're starting or coming off the bench, because everybody's so important. And so I think for Asia, whether she's a starter or coming off the bench, it's all the same for her. It's an attitude and a mindset and a focus that she needs to have so she can go out and play good basketball.
Can you just touch briefly on how you think having a strong senior presence is really going to help you in the SEC play in the long run?
Well, I think that our seniors are important because they're good players and they're talented, and I'm a coach that probably spends more time in the mental or emotional aspect of the game, and trying to make sure the players are thinking properly and carrying themselves properly so we can all succeed. And sometimes, I think as a coach you can overdo that and maybe put too much weight on seniors, and are they do they have a sense of urgency because it's their senior year, or do they not? Or, there's just a wide range of what can happen there with the seniors. So again, with this particular team, I'm trying to do the very best job I can as their coach to get them ready for Sunday afternoon, and just trying to simplify things. And, we've cast the vision for this team. We've let them know we think they can be a championship basketball team. And so now we're trying not to, that's, I think everybody understands that. So right now, whether it be a senior or a freshman or in between, we're just trying to get them ready for Sunday afternoon and see if we can earn a victory over Florida. And I feel like that's the best way to get it out of our team. Now, our seniors will be important on Sunday, and they'll be important every other game because I do think experience helps you, and I do think all of those things can come into play, but I don't think you can rely on that and just assume that it's going to make a huge difference. It can if you practice well and do what you're supposed to do. Senior leadership can make a difference. So this group's going to work hard today and tomorrow and Sunday morning, and we're going to see if we can beat a good Florida team Sunday afternoon. Would love to see a big crowd out. Just makes such a difference here in Memorial Coliseum. And so, if you're a season ticket holder, I just want to, ask you to come out and see us play. If you've never come out to see us, come out and see us. I think you'll come back if you ever come out one time. And we need a big, big crowd to help us beat a good Florida team Sunday afternoon. Thanks, everybody.